Hello, test. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Animation. Oh, the same. I haven't said anything in a little while, so if they're saying that.
Test, test. Oh, now it works. I can see that it works now. Perfect. They should be able. Yeah. Okay, I fixed it. They can hear me now too. I'm so sorry. I guess we're gonna start again because this just totally failed. That was my fault. Sorry, everybody. I messed this up totally. Should have checked my mic levels before starting this. I guess I'm just gonna start from scratch again. You're gonna have to do your whole spiel again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Matt.
I'll race to it for anyone who did it. Did anyone hear it? Because if not,
I don't think anybody heard it. I don't think anybody heard it.
Okay, fine.
Anyways, I'm just going to start from the very beginning. We're going to start this entire thing over. Okay, we're going to start this entire thing over. Welcome to the live chat episode with Max. Sorry for failing the audio earlier. I'm here today with Matt. Matt G. Perry is his handle on Twitter. I've known of Matt for a long time because he's built a lot of awesome animation libraries. And here today we are to talk about his latest one, Framer Motion. Matt, welcome to the show. Why don't you introduce yourself? Where do you work? What do you do? And why do you build so many animation libraries?
So because I keep getting it wrong, and I keep one day I'll get there. So I'm Matt Perry. I've been writing pop motion since like 2014, and since then I've gone on to write other animation libraries, as you say, like Pose, which was a React animation library, and the Framer Motion is the latest one, which is like a continuation of all the work I did on Pose, basically. But as it says, Framer Motion, I'm working at Framer, so we're doing it to support the Framer app as well.
Right.
Built on React. It's
nice.
No order.
So is Framer Motion is it used by the Framer app itself, or is it meant to be used by the users building their apps with Framer?
Yeah, both.
Did that question make sense?
Yeah, totally. Like, because when you're in the app, especially now with the new feature that I'll show you in a sec, Magic Motion, it powers all of those animations that you might make with the GUI, but the point and click interface. But you can also go in and write code yourself. It powers all of those animations. But like you say, in the app itself, we're also like sort of dog fooding it and on our website to produce the app and the website.
Nice.
So it's it's something that we use and we provide to users to use.
Makes sense.
So I can see how it sounded confusing. Yeah.
No, but that makes sense. That's nice. It's good that you're dog fooding it because that means it can't be horrible. Talk to us a little bit about how you actually got into this, because you've been doing this for a long time. Why did you decide in the first place to build an animation library? It's not like the first thing that people think when they're like, oh, I need something to do this afternoon. I'm going to build an animation library. Like, how did you actually get into this, and why have you kept doing it for the last years?
I guess so. Back in the start, I had this idea that like our user interfaces were a little dead, and that they should be, as the fidelity of them increases, like our screens get high resolution, they're becoming 3D soon. The input gets so much higher, like the delay between your finger and what happens on screen reduces. And it's sort of, I felt like if our user interfaces didn't respond in a more natural feeling way, then those interfaces are going to start to feel dated. So you can see like the web's always felt a little behind apps, which are always seem to be a bit more playful, a bit more interactive. And I wanted to write a book about it. So I was starting to make all these examples, and every time I did something, I need like a physics function or something. And it kept coming up. And by the end I'd had all these like utility functions, and I had essentially like a little library. So I just whacked a name on it, which was stupidly titled. It was called Redshift at the beginning.
All right.
Obviously, that was taken by something a lot larger, which it was an Amazon service. And and then in the end, I renamed it. I actually went through a few. I think I've burned through a lot of the NPM like namespace, just coming up with the name. But then I settled on Pop Motion, and that's
Right. Nice. So Did you ever actually publish that book?
Didn't write a word of it. I just got through all these like modals and the modals that you could like
Amazing.
fling around, and it was doing like angular momentum stuff, and yeah, never wrote anything. And I don't think I ever will. I've enjoyed the writing the libraries and seeing what people make of it probably more than I think I would have enjoyed writing that book.
That is hilarious. So you set out writing a book, but instead you created some of the best animation libraries in the JavaScript ecosystem. That's like
I think yeah,
you,
thanks.
you,
But
you,
I think if
how that's amazing. Like the fact that you haven't actually published the book makes it even better because it's like you've been so enamored with writing. It feels like from the outside you've been so enamored with writing these libraries that you didn't even get around to writing the book, which is why you started writing a library in the first place.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know how it came about, like in that sense, but I just really enjoy writing APIs now. I think trying to figure
I
out.
know that feeling.
I've like learned a lot as well from Pop Motion, which is it was always designed to be super flexible, and then seeing the adoption of Framer Motion and Pose versus Pop Motion, like the two together make up 95% of the Pop Motion downloads, and I think that's taught me a lot about how important it is to package these things in a simple
Yeah.
way to drive adoption, because people aren't going to do whatever it is these libraries can do. They're not going to make use of them unless you really simplify it and get the effort and time involved in terms of reading, writing, maintenance, understanding code. All of that needs to come down to like free, essentially. Otherwise, it's not going to be used.
That is such a great insight already. Damn. That is, I
Thanks.
love
There you
that.
go.
I actually
Yeah.
really like that. So, did I understand that correctly? Just to clarify, do Framer Motion and Pose both use put the Pop Motion engine under the hood?
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So it's all they do. I mean, not all they do. They've done like, especially they do a lot of DOM integration stuff, as we'll see in a bit. But they essentially orchestrate pop motion animations. That's really what they're doing.
right.
Like managing these for you, so you don't have to do any of that. Like there's no starting and
Oh,
stopping. It's just like when things change, we figure it out, and we automatically pass the velocity between animations into each other, so it all gets managed for you, basically.
I get it. Ah, that's awesome. I had no idea that Pop Motion was still used for Framer Motion. So you're still
Yeah, and
using.
even it's actually.
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say it's actually like driving that API in a sense, because before I was trying to make concessions about, is pop motion too low level? What's the right way to where do you best angle it as an unopinionated library, but also one that's like easy-ish to use? And but now that Pose and especially like Frame of Motion, which has superseded it, now that they exist and they make these things in a much more user-friendly way, I'm kind of re-looking at pop motion and going, okay, what do I really need from this now? And it's like, synchronous, the ability to run synchronous animations. I need that in frame of motion, but it also means that it becomes a more testable low-level library. If it's not just an animation, it's also this thing that you can query for time at any point. You can do all this sort of stuff. You can draw
Yeah,
graphs
right.
of it. Whereas at the moment, it's like frame locked. It's an actual animation runner. So it's just changed my perspective basically. So now that's going to become even less user friendly, very tailored to what we need for frame of motion.
Yeah, but that makes sense because that's really what users are going to be using. Like you said, 95% of downloads of Pop Motion are just Pose and Framer Motion users, right? Apparently,
Yeah, exactly.
very few people use the underlying API anyway. And if they are, I'd guess, I'd probably bet that most of them are implementing something similar to Pose and Framer Motion themselves, right? At some point, there's got to be a
Yeah.
higher level API. But
Yeah, sure.
speaking of that, why don't you show off what's possible with Framer Motion? Why don't you walk us through a couple examples, share your screen, and just show us what it does and how it works?
Cool. Okay. Let me get the right one this time because I'll put you up here. So
Double windows, the double monitor problems.
yeah, I think I've got. You should be seeing my framer.
Yep.
You seen framer? Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so basically, what I'm going to show you today is all in beta, both in framer and framer motion. And I'm going to be showing you the magic motion stuff, and just so we can get a sense of like what it's capable of and why it's important that it's easy to use. So I'll show you.
Yeah.
So this is framer. and this is the app that we make for you to build prototypes. If people haven't heard of it, and you can in this new Magic Motion release, you'll be able to create a prototype that maybe looks like this and like that. And let's say that you, so just by connecting these two, now when I click on this, it will morph into a sidebar. So
what?
you
Wait,
can take this.
Hold on.
Okay.
You didn't do anything. You just made two screens, and it automatically did the animation for you.
Yeah, that's it. That's the magic. But okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So that's.
I'm sold. We can turn off this live stream right now.
Right.
Why? I don't need anything else anymore. Wait, this just works.
Well,
that's
see
it.
See you later. Then have fun. See you later.
That just worked. Like that's literally it.
Yeah. So obviously this isn't the code experience, but we'll get.
No, but
like it's not far off. That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is cool. It's crazy how quickly you can build prototypes now with this. You can, and this can be taken really far. I wish I had more. If Ben's in the chat, maybe you can post some crazy prototypes throughout the chat, and I can show you like what an actual designer can do rather than this nonsense. But it's capable of like some fairly cool stuff. So like if I was to make this a button, for instance, and this can be the same. But even, and you can actually do this as well. So where we just link it back, and if we say back to previous, and these become like a toggle. So now even like it's red and it's, but the thing is, this is all running. This animation is all using transforms. It's not using width or height or anything like that. It's going to be 60 FPS or as close as you'll ever get to it on the web. This is 60 FPS because it's a simple example, but yeah. So
wait, hold on. Back up a second. You just said that this is using the sort of only the performance CSS animation stuff, i.e. transforms and opacity, really, right?
Yeah, this is also animating color. So there is a degree to which depending on what you do, you might hit a few paints as well. But we'll never animate layout, like never. So everything you see today is only.
How does that even work? Hold on. So you're looking. Okay, I gotta dive into how this works because this is blowing my mind. So you essentially, you have this is rendered with React, right?
Yeah, this is all. Everything that you see is React. Yeah.
So I have a button in my React code, which in this case is just a red button, whatever, right? And then I click on it, and then the React app re-renders to a new state, and you animate the transition between the two automatically.
Yeah, that's it. So
I don't even. What?
We can also, so if we go to the interactions panel, I can show you that this is cool as well. Just we have full customization like Bezier curves and stuff. So we can actually slow this down a little bit and see what's really going on here. So if I click that, you can see there's some border radius stuff. We know the difference. And the cool thing about this is I'll show, this will become more obvious in possibly the next, I'll show you this. Ben in the chat has just shown me, there's some links in there, but I'll show you in a sec. Way more complex like examples than this, but these are two different screens. These are two different hierarchies. It's not one. It looks like it's one component that's animating between two states, and in the code you can do that, but in Framer we're always animating between two completely different hierarchies. So this isn't even like one element being transformed and change color. It's two different React trees. And we know because Adam, if he's watching, I think he is, did a lot of work on making the relationship between these like consistent. And yeah, so as I said, it uses, I'll show you this. Ben just sent this to you on the chat. So I'll show you this. This is a different, a bit more of a complex situation, but you've got this is like a container based thing. So you've got the button. If I click on that, and they'll animate through each other.
How does that even work?
It's the same, and it's the same principle. Like we've got these two screens. We've got this button here, which is like in here. There's clearly a lot of stuff going on, but this container basically will be the same, and as the container grows, the content will be faded in and out. It's using the same principle. It's just like this is at the hands of a talented designer, as opposed to what this is.
Yeah. So under the hood, essentially, do you have to manually tell in code frame of motion sort of that this container should turn into that container, basically?
Yeah, so that's the really dividing line here that I'll show you in a bit in code. Where we're essentially given these components IDs, and it knows, okay, so this one looked like this previously. Okay, well, I'm going to need to make, using transforms and whatever, I'm going to need to make it look like that one and then animate it back out. But we're actually, because of, so like we might also have like a frame, this might be in a different hierarchy as well. So even still, that one will fade out because in Framer we're animating. So this button and the sidebar are actually like overlapping each other. Not at the moment, but when it gets added, it will start, and they'll actually animate together and crossfade between one and the other.
Oh my!
So that's how, because this box isn't there in the second screen.
Yeah,
of course. Faded out. And so that's technically how it works. And there is one just final sort of thing just to really highlight is, so if I type some words here and I make them, I don't know, say this big. If I move this over to the sidebar, now we want, a click's not a great header, I admit, but if we want to make this perhaps like a different, maybe make it 48, could even make it like bold, I guess. Let's have a look. So now when I animate between the two, this header will also animate into its new position.
No way.
And visually,
that doesn't even make sense.
This is a child. So this is, yeah, because it's like a child of a stretching thing. And if you want, I can get into the nitty gritty of how this works.
My mind is, I knew that frame of motion was cool, but my mind is being blown here. This is incredible. How do you even, I don't even know where to start. Jesus Christ. So hold on, you're animating. I thought I understood what was happening because you were turning a red rectangle with a border radius into a blue rectangle without border radius. I can get that.
Yeah.
But you're turning the text into bold text smoothly. Not only that, but you're moving it in a completely, in any position you want. So you're not actually animating a rectangle. As far as I understand, you basically render a new screen, and then frame of motion does some magic to compute the basically between them, the visual difference, right? And then it creates an animation on the fly, I guess, that turns the first state into the second state without having to care about the actual underlying sort of DOM hierarchy or whatever. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there might be situations where there might be the odd overlapping thing. I haven't really run into much doing this sort of stuff, but maybe the designers that have pushed it a bit more might have run into limitations. But yeah, in general, what we're doing, we're calculating the difference between the bounding boxes, but then we're also, on top of that, we're having to do scale correction, because when you see this click, that click is existing within this red box. How familiar are you with the flip technique? Because I could
go over it. Yeah, go over it. So it's just so that everybody knows. Okay,
so this sandbox here, what's this? Layout transition. Yes, this is going to not look good. When the flip technique is a way of animating. It was created by Paul Lewis, I think, from Google, and it's a way of animating expensive things like layout cheaply using transforms. So what you do is that you do the expensive thing, which is lay something out, and then you want to change it, so you relay it out. But then you can, as we're saying, calculate the difference between those two things, apply a transform that makes the second screen look like the first screen, and then you animate it out. But the problem with this technique is because you're replacing things like width and height with scale X and scale Y, things like border radius and box shadow and all the children will look distorted. So I think this is the one. So this one is a example of that, where this is a circle. If I click this, it's going to go big. So it started from the right size. It started from the right size, but the border, that, do you see? So we've taken a
Yeah.
circle and stretched it up to the right width and height, but because of the border radius, it looks like a circle at the big height. When really, what we wanted was this square to animate in with the corners here.
Yeah.
Exactly, those corners should be the same shape all the way down the animation, and the same thing. This child is the same width and height in both states, but during the animation, it gets like blown up, or if I go the other way, it gets really small again because we're stretching and squishing that parent.
Yeah.
So the key difference between Magic Motion and previous Flip implementations is that in this, we calculate every frame, for all children, how you need to correct for the scale that they find themselves in. So in this animation, you see the child is exactly the same.
And the border radius.
And the border radius and the box shadow as well, which is.
Wait, hold on. Okay. Now that sort of makes sense to me. You're diffing the two states, then you're generating sort of the intermediate states. You're calculating what it should look like at every frame, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
But then, how can you do that with transforms? How can you transform a border radius?
Oh, so no border radius. We correct what we do. We are changing border radius. So that's where you do hit, if you're doing things like border radius, box shadow, you do hit paints.
Right.
You still don't hit layout, which is the real baddie. But
right.
We're so say you were doing something horizontally and you made it this big and then you stretch it out. We divide the border radius by the scale that it's in, and that flip it basically. So that will say the border radius looks like it's squished. If you undo the scale that it's within, and we take the scale from every Magic Motion component up the tree. We take all the scales and we find out what the overall scale is, and we use that to undo the distortion. And it's the same for the children. Basically, every component has like a shadow bounding box. So we animate those independently of anything that's happening on screen in terms of the inverted scales, because we want to animate things. Because if you animate something that's stretching and squishing, and you're trying to animate it on the x-axis, then it's going to like slow up or speed, slow down or speed up depending on how you're squashing or stretching the container.
Yeah.
But if you animate a shadow bounding box, like an ideal thing, and then calculate separately how to project the blue ball in this instance, how to project that into the shadow bounding box, then that's how we get the smooth and the consistent motion and how things look the same in all of these screens.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I rambled a little bit there, but that's basically the gist of it.
No, that was super interesting. Holy cow, I can't believe you make that work.
No, I couldn't when it did. That was it's definitely a fun one to make. It was definitely challenging for someone who doesn't if you're into maths or geometry, then it probably actually, when it's explained, doesn't seem that difficult. But I don't have any background in any of these things, and so I did find it quite challenging, but it was super satisfying to see it all work as well. This is my favorite. Ben's just sent me this in the chat as well. So there's this that
is nice.
And then his favorite
no oh my god, no.
And go back as well. And this is in like an overflow, because we're crossfading between the two things. This is overflow hidden, because it's a scroll. You can scroll this and then click that. But when it goes back, because we're crossfading, it doesn't see. You don't see the clip of the overflow hidden container as much as you might otherwise. If you're only animating the item.
How I don't even. So I don't even know where to start with this. This is blowing my mind. Jesus. I want to know everything about. Okay. continue on. You have do you have other demos that you want to show?
I've got a code example. We could have a look at the code.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I want to look at the code
Yeah.
because I want to see how hard to do this is.
Yeah, because when you see, because the thing is, if you were given this as a developer, you'd be a little bit in tears, right? Because you'd just be like, I don't even know where to start with this.
Yeah, exactly. If you give me this design, I don't even know how to even do anything. I have no idea how to make this happen. I wouldn't even know where to start, literally.
Yeah, no, totally. And I wouldn't. And to the point where you probably just would end up saying, look, this is going to take me weeks to implement. So if you want to, then we can do it. And you'd probably come up with a solution that was just for this one.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll show off like a solution that you can just use and you can just try. And hopefully it's like easy enough that you'll be able to just like play around with it and, you know, just mess around basically. So just before the live stream, I changed this to use styled components. So,
yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So this is just a switch. It takes a is-on Boolean, and we've got two divs. They're styled divs. There's a container and there's a handle as well.
Yeah.
And so when I click this, it turns green, and it
switches position.
It switches from and the way it does that is just by this hastily written conditional where if it's on, we justify content to the end, and if it's off, we justify it to the start. Now the thing with Flexbox is that you can't. If you wanted to animate this, you'd have to go, I'm going to have to like change this to a transform, because, or you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to add the transition,
because you can't animate Flexbox. That's not a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But it's a shame, really, because that means that we're changing the way we write code to implement these animations, when really for me this is the natural way you'd want to write both of these states. Like you want
of course,
Flexbox for both. So what we can do is change if we import motion from Framer Motion, and motion's like for anyone who hasn't used it, it's kind of like the primitive so you can do motion.div, you can do motion.h1, you can do motion anything basically.
Yeah.
Any HTML tag or SVG. So if I replace that here, and now because container is this styled component, if I now give this an animate prop and I change this, you can see that the background color automatically knows to animate.
No.
So
that is it. You just changed it to a motion.div and set the animate prop. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. That's it. And then, but obviously we've still got the handle to do.
No.
So what we can do.
I know where this is going, but I don't like it. Please.
Yeah, it's happening. Okay, so again, animate. And if we click that. This is a GIF.
How does that work? How does that work? Why does that work? That is. I can't believe that works.
This could be like a class name or a style, or because this handle doesn't actually have any layout on itself. It's inherited it, like it's part of the Flex container. It's just, all we know is that it's moved basically, and so we animate the difference between those. But it's all done, and importantly, the layout happens once, and everything is totally. It's like interruptible as well. I'll just throw that in. Yes, so that's the.
That's it. You just throw emotion.div in there. You add the animate prop, and whatever change you make gets automatically animated.
Yeah, and so there is like limitations.
Of course, that's fine. But
we do the common props.
This is using Flexbox. Styles. You cannot animate a Flexbox change. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That genuinely doesn't make any sense.
Someone made a thing. I haven't really pushed this to its like limits, but I saw on Twitter somebody's already made a demo where they're animating a CSS grid, which is crazy. Like so he's just like added. I can't find it. Oh, this is quite a good one though. So I'll just so this guy, if you can see this, so he's all of these just have animate on them, and
No.
he's just switching the CSS grid, I think, and they just animate into their new position. And it doesn't matter if you like scroll; they'll like so that. But he hasn't done anything that's different to what I've just showed you. Basically, that's it. That's the technique, basically.
This doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that that works does not make any sense to me at all. That
Are
doesn't.
you?
I don't even. I don't. Okay. So this is really easy to use in code. I have so many questions. How I sort of understand the concept. You're taking the state that it was in before, you're storing it, then you know what state it should be in after, and then you sort of write you generate a frame for, or you generate a sort of state for every single frame. And then you go from the first one to the last one by running through all the frames, which are animated using transitions, transforms, and opacity and stuff, right?
Yeah, but the only thing I'd say is that we do we do one frame. We calculate every frame on the fly because there might be so many permutations of this, and any so like all the children could be staggered, or you might stop.
Oh,
It can do like so. It has to all be calculated per frame, basically.
how is that?
But
How is
yeah,
that so fast? How is that fast? That doesn't make any
it's
sense.
actually it was. I've got to say, I thought it was going to be an issue, to put it lightly. But it's not much more overhead than just a normal JavaScript animation.
That is mind-boggling.
Um,
That is mind-boggling. The fact that just works by turning it into motion.div and adding the animate prop is mind-boggling. You can basically animate anything.
yeah, pretty
Just
much
throw an
any
animate.
layout you can. Yeah, and between any two things as well. So there is a. It does get slightly more complicated, although I feel like oh, there's a cat here. It does get slightly more complicated, which I can show you the next sort of demo. But it doesn't get any more complicated than what I'll show you next. Which is, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's this like underline demo, and it's the same, basically the same setup. I didn't have time to change this one into style components, sadly.
That's all right.
But I'll open this in a new screen because it's. Is this text big enough? Do you reckon?
I can read it. Yeah, you can make it bigger if you want to. Then people can read it for sure. Yeah, that's good. No, it's really big.
So this is what we've got. It's a just this, like a just stupid, like a menu style. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So
I know where this is going, and I really don't like it. Ah.
So it's exactly the same thing. So like 1, 2, 3, and 4, we'll do that right off the bat. So if I just make this an animated, motion.li, and then I need to import that. Import. So in this one, and this is a CSS again, we're just like appending a selected style, and I think we're switching out the color when it's selected. That's all we're doing. We're doing that in style. We're doing some other things in class name. It's a bit of a mishmash. Now, if I add animate to that, I might need to refresh this. Then what we're going to see is that these
no
like this, but which is fine.
But what do you mean? Hold on. All the others are moving in. This just works perfectly. This literally works perfectly. All the others work in relation to the one that's being animated. They're sort of fading in and out at the same time. This is already amazing. Yeah. How does this get any better?
So the extra step is that this underline, which is it's just this div, and all we do is if the list item is selected, we render it. And if it's not selected, then we don't. It's got a class name, and that CSS, if I open up the CSS again, where's underline? So again, like we've done the layout however we want to do it. this is width 100%, so it will take on, it's responsive, it will take, this could be on a mobile display, and it could have different styles. It doesn't really matter. We could give it media queries, but in here we've done it width 100%, height 8, and then position absolute, and then bottom -4. So I just like offset it using position absolute. I don't know if that's a cool kid way of doing it. I don't know if that's like, maybe that's a bit old school. I don't know. But the gist, the point is, I've done that however I like.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever works, basically.
You write whatever code you want.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we change this to a motion div as well, now this time we're going to import a new component. It's called AnimateSharedLayout. And if people want to play with this, or the animate prop, it's on the beta branch of Frame of Motion. And there are docs that I'll link to, but it is a beta feature. So, it's pretty robust, and we're using it to build Magic Motion in Frame and Web. So bugs are we're pretty quick to get on them. But because the permutation, Frame is set up in a very specific way, so the number of ways, it's more that we don't even know perhaps how you could break it yet, because in code you could be using this.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I'm really quite eager to get this to a full release, and we're getting there, I think. So AnimateSharedLayout, what that means is, within this the context of this component, any components that disappear or reappear, we'll know about them. Basically, they're not getting away. So if this motion div now, because it lives within AnimateSharedLayout, if I give it we've got a prop called layout ID. I give it probably just call it underline as well, because why not?
Oh no, I see where this is going. Oh no.
So now I think that should be enough. Yeah. So now
what?
Yeah. So when a new one appears, it knows that there used to be one. We've called underline. It's like, I'm underline. Where did I come from? And it will put itself back to that state. And that's
I don't want to do this stream anymore. I feel so inadequate right now. I don't want to do this anymore. This is that just works?
Yeah, for at the moment. It's beta software,
that is
so you never
incredible.
Know. But yeah, it does.
Thanks. I don't even. That is incredible. That is amazing. That is way too easy. How is that so easy? How is this so easy?
Well, okay. Yeah, well, hopefully it should be, because the other thing is, if it's easy, it's easier to maintain. That's what I'm trying to get, because it's all well and good once you're done. I used to make like slideshows and stuff using Pop Motion and React, and it was so brittle the way it works that you'd leave it for 6 months and you come back to it and it was all broken. You're like, how did this happen? What's happened here? But if you only write so much, you can only break so much. So
that's another wisdom right there. If you only write so much, you can only break so much. I like that a lot, actually.
That's obviously someone who's been through the wars a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah.
But, that's my view on this. Yeah. So that's it really. That's this.
That's it. That's just it. That just works.
Yeah. That's it really. There is one more demo. So this is, I'd say, we've had easy and medium difficulty. This is like hard mode. This is, if it loads. Have you used the App Store on an iPad?
I have, yeah. Actually, I have, yeah.
So like when you...
what are you going to do now?
When you click on an item, it morphs out of the item view into. So here, what we've got is a similar thing. Like we've got our App Store view, and when I click on a link, we've got this, and it's
details
all
view
responsive
basically
as well. So yeah, the details view, and it's React Router powered. So we've got like a URL. If I go back, we can see that it's all like this. So we've got full URL navigation. So we can make this look like the Apple version in a couple of minutes, I think, which is something that I wouldn't have. Can I get rid of this preview?
If you go to view, there's like a Zen mode, I think, or something. Is there appearance?
Oh yeah. I toggle Zen mode.
Try that. No, that didn't help.
We'll get rid of it as much as we can. So the basic setup of this is just like a standard React router setup.
Yeah.
The main export, basically. This is the main export, but
sure.
the gist of it is this list, which is the list view, as you can see, and we've got this conditionally rendered item view. So these are totally different trees now. Like we've got the whole list where all the items live, and then we've got the details view, as you say, here. So same principle. If I wrap this, so I'm going to import AnimateSharedLayout from FrameMotion.
Somebody in chat said, by the way, that the button with the small play icon inside will hide the preview. Try pressing that at the top.
Boom.
Yeah,
look at that.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. So I've wrapped it in a thing. Nothing's changed. But if I go into list, I believe there's already some motion divs that I've left for myself.
Yeah.
And so this is the list view. This is card. This is like every individual item. So
yeah.
If I give each of these bits, so I'll do the first one, layout ID. Actually, what I want is a template thing. I don't want content container. So if I give this a ID to make it specific to the card, and then I'll just copy paste this. And then if I go to my item view,
and you give it the same layout ID.
Yes, that's all.
That's on the wrong. That's on the wrong div. I think you put it on the content actually.
That's why we've got.
Yeah,
that's why we got you.
There you
go. Thanks so much. So if I refresh this now, I'm not sure what this is going to. I think this is actually going to look really shoddy because all we've done is like done the container, but it should animate out. Okay, so as you can see, like it animates out. Like it looks weird, but it's the shared layout has a crossfade mode. So if I just put in type equals crossfade, what this is good at is exactly as we saw in the Framer prototype at the start. This is how all of them work in Framer. If the target and the origin are quite different, you can crossfade between them and mask some of the weirdness. I'm not sure how effective it would be in this example because it's so different. But it might have a No, it didn't seem to be doing that much. Or is it working at all? I don't know. But we'll see.
So what is the default type? If it's not crossfading, what does it do by default?
Oh, switch. So as you can see, is this hot reloaded? No, it's not. I'll see. Okay. So when I click this, that you see that now it's disappeared in the background there.
Yeah.
So switch means we add a new one. If we add anything with a new layout ID that existed already, we hide that and we make the new thing look like the old thing and animate that out. And then when we remove it, we'll animate it back in and then switch it with the old thing.
Yeah.
So if I actually need to, we've also got a component called AnimatePresence, and this is what we can use to enable. At the moment, you can use it in FrameMotion already, and it gives you access to like an exit prop, so you can do exit equals opacity 0, and something will fade out even after it's been completely removed from the React tree.
Oh wow!
It's a little like React transition group, I believe.
Yeah, kind of, but not as neatly as this.
So we've changed it to work with Magic Motion. So I thought if we wrap this, we can see now that it will. Oh, I'll have to refresh. But basically, this will animate back in. See that, and then at the very end, it switches. So if I can make a transition so we can slow this down and we can really see what's. Let's make it 2 seconds and we'll refresh that. So now we can see kind of what's going on. I could probably crossfade works best when you've got like a animate presence anyway. So if we let's see if this does anything. Crossfade's like been probably the most difficult thing to get right. So
yeah, I can imagine.
So yeah, no, it seems to be. You can see there. So the exit animation here. It's because the overlay is coming in immediately. So the overlay's over. So the item's here. The overlays shadow, and then, so you might have to orchestrate some things sometimes, but you can see that it fades out, and I'll show you in a sec how that really. Well, so we can fix this animation just by going into the sort of like the root. You kind of want the root things to. Oh, what it says my internet's. If I drop out, apologies.
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. Oh, am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm getting a very poor signal the other way down, but it's my internet. I know for a fact. So it's the root things. So like we want the text to look the same. We want the image to look the same.
Yeah.
We can just add. Oh, brilliant. We can just add like image. So there.
Well, now he's gone. I wanted to see this, Matt. Okay, now he's gone. Oh, there we go. Now you're back.
Boom.
I can't see your screen anymore.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
I want to see this. Show me.
So all I've done while I was away for that brief period, I have added 2 more layout IDs.
Right.
What image and title.
Yeah.
I think that's all that I need to add because it's just the image that we want to keep and the other one. So that's in the list view. And then if I go to, that's not let me save now. I don't know what, ever since the quarantine started, the internet at 5 p.m. on the dot, it's like everyone's just downstairs and starts playing Netflix or something. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Right. That makes sense.
But yeah, so what I'm going to do if this loads.
If it loads.
The idea is at least that so let's get rid of that. I really don't know anymore. Like I don't have faith in it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Can you see? You can probably see this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's still there, which is sort of surprising.
Does it have the?
Let's have a look. If I go to,
I think the title doesn't have the layout ID, right?
Oops.
Does it?
Oh yeah. Oh, it didn't save. Oh, neither does. Oh, it saved a weird amount. Okay. Yeah. Good shout. So, and then if I do the same in item, so it's this image and title.
So you're essentially telling Framer Motion which elements should turn into which elements, basically between the diff, right? That's what the layout IDs are doing.
Yeah, I'm basically saying these 2 things are the same, basically. So if one comes and there's already one there, like if we're in crossfade mode, it will animate them both together. But well, to varying degrees of success. But if it's switch mode, it will hide the originals and then animate the new ones.
Yeah.
So now we can see that the text and the image were undistorted throughout the animation. This is the crossfade thing, which isn't working so well. I think maybe because of the delay and stuff. I said it's 2 seconds, so it might look a bit funny. But if we turn that off, because the nice thing about this demo is that they look the same. You can transform them to look the same, so you don't actually need crossfade. I was just sort of showing you how all the Framer demos work. But if I get that. And then the last thing is we've got our text here, you can see that the text it's like squished, and as it grows out, it gets unsquished and squished.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but this is how it should look, and this is how it sort of looks mid animation.
Yeah,
But
that's
because
not
of
great.
the animate prop, we can just go in.
That feels so amazing.
It's those sorts of scale distortions that are really the kind of killer for. So if we just type animate here, refresh, and now when we animate between the two, if it loads, let's try that again.
Oh man, I opened the page just now. This is amazing.
I don't know what's going on.
I've got it open. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I mean, it's slow, but it's super nice.
So now, like the text, it even stays solid. Yeah, we can turn that down to.
Man,
where was it? App. Yeah, we can do it. We can change that back to. You could use a Spring actually, but I don't have confidence in my Spring design skills off the bat that it won't look pretty crazy. But yeah, so I can actually drop this in the chat as well, just so people can play around with it. There is a bug in Safari that their image caching is kind of weird, so it might the image might take a second to load on it. I have seen people fix this with deferred animations and stuff. But people, just for the sake of
everybody in chat, just open this website and click on it. I mean, this just feels amazing. I'm literally clicking around on it. I just opened the link. This feels incredible. It just animates. You didn't have to. You wrote. So what's blowing my mind about this is that you didn't have to write the code to work as an animation. You wrote the code how you would normally do it, and then it just animates magically, literally magically.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really it. So like, if you know how to lay it out, I feel like that should be pretty much all you need to know. So I just added some like more classic framer motion properties, initial, animate, and exit, which gives it the initial state, the on mount animation, and this is the overlay. So now if we if I refresh, now the overlay itself will animate in and out. And actually, if we can turn, because I'll show you, this is the thing. This is the real. This is why I like. So if we close this, the back button. So if I can get this to a point where, see the text straps there, funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to break our. So now, because the bounding boxes are slightly different aspect ratios, it has this sort of. You can see like a weird squishing effect. That's now where type crossfade becomes really useful, because we can just soften that transition, even though they're very different things. And now that I've fixed the overlay animation to work with this, now even though these texts are different and the animation's not quite perfect, but you see this in Mac OS as well, when you make something full screen and that's maybe like this sort of size, a square sort of window, and if you click the green button, you can see it getting stretched and cross-faded, and this is quite a common way to solve it. But if I make that wrap again, there we go. So now they cross. On the way back, that's clearly broken in this thing, but it sort of has that crossfade. So it's sort of, we're going to tweak that a little bit, but basically it'll just mask any of those kind of incongruent transitions, basically.
I'm just thinking about if I got this design and somebody told me I would have to implement this animation, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like I literally wouldn't know how to do this. It would be impossible for me to do this. And with frame of motion, I literally just swap out my diff renderings for motion.divs, and then I add the animate prop. And then maybe I have to configure some stuff with the duration and stuff. Sure, I have to actually make an animation, but this is way too simple for how complex this ends up looking, basically.
Yeah, that's like kind of what I hope to get, is that, things that might have panicked you. Because now that Framer can do all this stuff, it was quite difficult to make this even in Framer before Magic Motion. But now that we've got this, people are going to go nuts, I think, and make all sorts of interactions and stuff. And I just want to make sure that it's in a place where if you get one of these crazy designs, then you have the production ready animation library that you can then implement something like that. I mean, that just took us, okay, we already had the designs and stuff because I laid it out in the past, but all the code that was for the animation, which is just components and props, there's no logic, it's all markup. That took us, and I was faffing and mumbling, and it took us like I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something with messing around. So that's where I wanted to get this. Like,
that is absolutely mind blowing. That is absolutely mind blowing. The fact that just works is incredible. I just want to rebuild all of my apps now. I just want to not even rebuild, just use it in all of my apps.
Yeah, I haven't been able to use it in anything other than the demos yet. And it's fun to use in demos, but I think I'd really like to make something like cool.
You know what I'm going to do actually after this stream? I have this animation. If you go to my website, mxstbr.com, I have this animation in my nav bar. When you scroll down, it sort of animates the name in and out. And that animation is completely custom. I literally changed the margin, I think. Like I add negative margin and I transform stuff to make it look as smooth as it does. I'm going to try remaking that with Framer Motion.
If you do, you probably ran into this as well. Like you can't, so I didn't know this until I did Magic Motion, but Magic Motion won't work on display inline components or elements, sorry, because they don't accept transform, which I didn't know.
Oh.
So this must be like inline block or something. That
Yeah. This is inline block. It doesn't even have to be inline
really
block.
Nice. Yeah, let me know how you get on because I'm
actually going to try this. If people on the stream, I'm showing the animation on stream. People on stream, this is what I'm going to try to re-implement with Framer Motion later. That can't be too hard. It should work, right? My mind is just the fact. I'm just going to use this for everything now. Not thinking like on my website. If you click on a card, it should open like a details view, and that should animate with the colors and stuff. And then if you click on the blog post, it should open the blog post with a really nice animation. Now I'm thinking about all these things that I just want to animate.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I know what I'm doing tonight. I know what I'm spending my evening doing because this is way too easy.
I'm looking forward to seeing them. Like it's been awesome to see people.
My mind is just blown.
That's exactly what I want to hear. Thanks.
This is just incredible. Cool. Holy cow! I mean, I follow you on Twitter, so I figured Frame Motion was gonna be cool. But this is like a million times cooler than I thought it ever was. This is way cooler than I even ever imagined anybody could make a thing that was this cool. Like, this is absolutely mind-blowing. I am in awe.
Mate,
I am in awe.
Thank you very much.
I can really only bow at this. This is... Jesus, Matt. However many years you worked on this, this just all makes it worth it, because this is just mind-blowing. I hope people who are watching this are like... I mean, they must be as mind-blowing as I am. But basically, just go ahead, npm install... Is it the beta version? Is it tagged as beta on npm? Beta or whatever? Framer Motion at beta or something?
Yeah, at beta.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Framer Motion at beta, and you'll get the latest one.
I'm literally going to do that. That is literally what I'm going to do after this stream.
Will this save to this stream? Sorry, my internet's... I can't hear you guys, so... I've got no internet.
I can hear you. How does that make any sense?
Then that's a miracle because I can't even load a web page at the moment. Oh, hello. You're back, but
I can see you.
I honestly don't know you anymore. I think you're probably hearing me shout.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see you. I can even see your face.
All I want was the URL, and my internet isn't even going to give me.
All right. Since you're having issues, I think this is pretty much the perfect place to end this stream, particularly because we've seen how amazing Framer Motion is. Thank you for coming on the show, Matt. I hope you can hear this. If you can't, then stream. I hope you enjoyed the stream, even though we were having these technical issues at the end. Framer Motion is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't even know what to ask. This is absolutely incredible. I don't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know how to do any of this. And Framer Motion makes it so easy. This is mind-blowing. I'm literally going to go after the stream, and I'm going to implement it on my website because I want to see if it actually works as well as it should. All right. With that, I think we're going to end this stream. Matt, thanks for coming on the show. If you can hear me. If you can't hear me, I'm just going to turn off the stream. I hope this was fun. I hope you all enjoyed this frame of motion demo. I know I enjoyed it. My mind has been blown. And I'll see you all for the next chat.